You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it.
Do that. Let's do that.
Boom! That's exactly it. That is exactly it. Sorry, I've got to unmute you. Sorry.
Oh my gosh!
For those of you in the car buying public,
yes.
You know, you can imagine how Dan Jordan is before the show goes live. So I have to mute his microphone because you won't. Listen. You can't hear what's going on. You can't hear the magic.
I know.
How's it going today?
Well, it's going great. You know, I'm here in the Southern Command Center now instead of being in the office, which is a whole different vibe because my wife tells me that I scream all the time. And so, you know, so we've scheduled our times at 12 o'clock on Wednesdays. She goes for a walk and she gets out. So it allows me to be myself. William Warwick, by the way, just texted me. And he texted me because he was laughing at me about yesterday's show because he was watching it on Amazon Live. And this is the first time, so he didn't realize that, he just flicked it on there. He went there. So why don't you go tell the car buying public? And this was appropriate because of Detroit and what we got going on today.
That's right. The car buying public in the mitten, or the D, as Laurie and I like to call it every so often. So yeah, if you're joining for the first time on Dan Jordan Live and you're seeing this big circle that's in the middle, that's telling all of the car buying public, if you will, on Amazon. That's right. Amazon Live is a thing. And Dan Jordan, the Sales Energizer, is known as Dan Jordan, the Pitch Man on Amazon. So I know Ricky is already in the house on Amazon and chiming in. So thank you, Ricky, for that. So that's why we see that. And, you know, on every Wednesday, Dan, we have a special Sales Energizer show. And so if you are watching us on all the other tubes, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, the party's actually here on Amazon Live. We love to engage with people over there. So we made it easy for you. Just go to your browser and type in thepitchman.live. It's going to send you here to Amazon. But I mean, if you want to hang out on LinkedIn, that's cool too. Much more business-like.
That's right. Which is very much like we are like here. Listen, because business is happening. See, now, the way the world is going on, I think we're about to start breaking out again in live events and things are happening. We just got to learn how to interact and communicate with each other. And so we're blessed to have a guest this week. She's very accomplished and someone that it's better if you introduce her. But I just want to get her on here because she's someone that I go to for inspiration on how to really communicate with people that they don't think you're a big fat idiot. And so I'm really looking forward to figure out what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, without further ado, would you please welcome to Dan Jordan Live, certified speaking professional, communication trainer, author, coach, and speaker. Would you please welcome Miss Laurie Brown?
Yay! Look at that. You see, she had her arms up before me. That was good. See, there's someone, because she listens. Unlike me, she actually listens. Laurie, it's so great to see you. It's been so long waiting for this.
It is wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for letting me chat with you guys.
Yes.
It's going to be fun.
We need you. And so you and Chris Stone have that thing in common, being from that Michigan
right.
area.
And so
what does that mean?
So
you're saying hi?
That's where she's from in the state. This is the state. I don't know, probably looks like this on the camera, right?
Oh.
I grew up right here. Laurie grew up more like here. So
Really? Is that a thing?
That's a thing. Can you do that with your state?
Yeah, well, no. I'm trying. Yeah, New Jersey is like, New Jersey's a place, we actually met from someone who was from that area. How you and I met is through
true.
Jeffrey Gittimer, who was also on the show from New Jersey. And we always say New Jersey's a fun place. It's the weirdest, like up yours is a greeting. Like that's how they say hello. It's just, but
the refinement is so beautiful.
Yeah. So, you screwed me up a little there because I saw my back. For those of you who didn't know, so I every once a year I'll throw my back out, and it was like a couple weeks ago, and I did it, and things were going well. Like I'm about 90% there, and we have a little Sophie Bell. So Sophie Bell, she's 19 now. She's spending the week at the beach, and so she went to the beach, and she left her cat here at the house, Francesca, and Francesca loves Sophie, and so she was sad when Sophie was gone. And so my wife, Chach, decided, hey, why don't I sleep in Sophie's bed? And that way, the cat will, come back to the bed and stuff, which left me our bed all to ourselves. So here's the whole back issue that happened, right? So in between my section and Chach's section, there's like a little ridge there. It's slight little ridge.
Wait, you have like a wall between you?
No, it's just like because
this is not a marriage counseling episode.
Yeah.
But if you like one, we can talk
exactly.
later.
You see how perceptive she is. See how perceptive. There's a little.
She listens to you, Dan.
Yeah, because of the divots in between it. So there's like a little, we actually call it Heartbreak Ridge, because it's just right in there in the middle. But it's very comfortable to sleep on. So I figured, I'm going to sleep on Heartbreak Ridge tonight. Anyway, I threw my back out again because of Heartbreak Ridge. And
so a little known fact, my father was in the mattress business. When I was growing up, he made mattresses. And I have to tell you, mattresses should not have ridges. Marriage shouldn't have ridges, and certainly not your mattress. So maybe you and I should talk about getting you a new mattress. By the way, is anyone out there a mattress salesperson? Because I'd like you right now to call in and give some advice. I'm right about this. No ridges.
That's very good. All right. Listen, you see, that's where it goes. But my back feels great now. Do you find this too? I'm going to ask you, because you are a professional speaker. Do you find that like when you're on stage, when you're in the game, like nothing hurts?
Well, I will tell you that I have done speeches with 102 fever, with pneumonia, and I did it once with the stomach flu. So yes, can I work through anything? Sure.
Wow.
Is that preferable? Absolutely not.
Okay, no. So now here's the question, communication wise,
Sure.
When you were given that presentation, did you share that you were on death's door?
No, it's nobody else's business because it's not relevant. I mean, this really goes to everything I think about all the time, which is the one phrase is make it more about them and less about you. They couldn't care less if I was sick. It's not relevant. What's relevant is what they need, what's important to them. And so to talk about my 102 fever.
Right. So you go through. So who do you speak to normally? Who's your, and you guys should know, when I first met Laurie, and she's only gotten better, she was like what I looked up to as a professional speaker. Because she was constantly working. During any time, she was constantly working. What's your secret to be able to get through that whole, every economic situation?
I mean, I have to say a lot of it is luck. I've been really blessed. So you wanted to know what my range, who I speak to.
Yes.
I have spoken to bull seaman salesmen. You cannot make that up. So everything from bull seaman salesmen, yes, salesmen who sell bull seaman. And I've worked with the government of the Kingdom of Bahrain, teaching them customer service. So pretty wide range of people doing lots of different things.
Well, I'm still stuck on the bull seaman.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
I don't know if I could put that in the Amazon carousel, but
yeah. Well, no. So when I okay, this is good because when you're talking about salespeople, and you originally said that they don't care about you, they care about themselves and their results. What's the message that you tell a bull seaman salesman that differentiates him from the other bull seaman salespeople out there?
Well, it's all about. Oh, we're really going to get into this.
You can't set me up like that,
right? In that case, it's about the cows, and they're selling to farmers, dairy farmers, and it's about how their. I can't believe I'm having this discussion. How their dairy cows, the benefits of using. I really can't believe I'm having this conversation.
Oh, okay.
Their semen for those specific, because it's never one size fits all in sales. You know that it can't be, here's what I sell and you just take it. And that's why I think every conversation doesn't start off with, here's what I have to sell you. It's, tell me about your business. Let me have done research already so I know you, and let me come in, and then even in the sales conversation, it's really listening. It's really finding out what they need, how they feel, what their story is. I think we make the mistake of starting to sell ourselves way too soon, because I don't think anybody cares about us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But how do you do it? Most people that go into sales, and I'm looking in the mirror right now, do it because we like the attention. We like being able to tell our story. We like being on stage, that whole thing. So when you say, find out about them, the fact of the matter is, I'm not all that interested. I'm talking as if I'm secretly talking in my head, but I'm really not all that interested.
Say that out loud.
I'm finding it for a cause. And so how do you overcome that? You didn't realize this was a counseling session.
And that's fine. How do you get over it? I think ultimately you will get to tell your story. It's a little bit of patience and waiting for the right time to tell that story. When we just start off with us, blah, 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 and I do this and I'm great at this, they're thinking in their head, so what? Who cares? What's in it for me? And when I can start about them, I mean, that's why I hate, this is for anybody out there who has capability slides, throw them away. I hate those slides. And we're in these 5 different countries, and we have this many people working for us, and we're in all the stuff about you, and we show it as if that means anything. And if you're made to do it, and I know some salespeople are made to show those capability slides, they just have to, then you have to say the magic words, what that means to you is. Oh, you're in 6 different countries. So what? The best way to look at any slide deck that you're going to show to a customer, and I don't like slide decks for customers, but let's say you are, then every slide you look at it and you say, so what? Because that's what they're saying. And if you don't have a good so what for that specific customer, throw the slide away, hide it, don't use it.
Well, so what do you do when so now the world has changed with all this virtual stuff, and people are kind of almost expecting slides and things. So how have you managed to overcome that doing it virtually right now? By the way, you sound great.
Thank you. I'm using a Bluetooth, not a Bluetooth, a Blue Yeti Nano. And I love this mic. I love that mic.
You sound great. And your background is cool too. You have lighting.
So you want to hear the best story about my background?
I want to hear only terrible stories.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody said to me, that's a great background. It looks like it's your high school yearbook photo.
My gosh.
It kind of does.
Kind of does
really
when
does.
you say it, right?
Yeah.
But, so let me tell you my prejudice also, why I use this. I hate green screen. I have a green screen. I could use it. I hate it. I hate it because, no, it is not authentic. I am not really on the Bahamas with the waves rolling up on the beach. I am not in a Star Trek episode. And so it acts as it's distracting. And for the most part, when people are using green screen, their hands get weird and their hair is weird. Just be you, right? That's what important. So I love your backgrounds. You can't use mine because it's not ready for prime time. But having a nice, simple, authentic. One of the things I love, this is terrible, what I have loved about the pandemic. And so I work internationally. I work with people all over the world. And I work with salespeople who are now making their sales calls from their kid's bedroom.
Yes.
And yeah, would it be better with something cleaner? On the other hand, it's authentic and we're all in it together. So very few people have a professional studio that they can use. And so that authenticity allows people to start trusting you because you seem real, much better than some sort of phony background.
That is terrific advice. I'm going to have to 100%. Cut that out.
Yeah.
That's a clip for me.
I'm glad, Laurie, you said that, because I've always felt like, people are trying to do it. It feels like they're trying a little too hard. And if you don't have a great lighting situation with the green screen, or you don't use it effectively, I have seen people use it effectively in terms of trying to do some sort of presentation. But I totally agree. I think if you want to not level down to whoever you're talking to, but if you want to be able to have people identify with you, feel like you're real, feel like you're not, transparent and vulnerable, but a little closer to them, show a little of this, you can get creative with this and still be able to translate that energy over. And I love how you've also, not overspent on some massive $500 microphone. You found one that worked for you. And we all understand that, we're communicating virtually and a lot of it is visual, but if you've got terrible audio and you've got sound bouncing around, it doesn't matter how great you look, because people can't, climb aboard to whatever you're talking about. Right.
So if you're going to spend money on anything, I agree with you 100%. Spend it on the sound, because I'll forgive bad video. I will go nuts with bad sound. I will just turn it off. I will tell you I can't talk to you.
But in that same vein, and of course I have the Samsung Q2U. I like it because it's a microphone and I could be like a lounge lizard. Isn't that good?
Sing a
Laurie,
song,
remember to tip your weight.
Laurie, you didn't
don't ask me to sing. It's because
I missed the harmonica playing. I want to hear that.
Oh, well, you know what? What's great about microphones and a harmonica, and I have neither with me right now because the attention is on you, Laurie Brown. But yeah, but if you have a harmonica and then you could put it next to the mic, Montekia. Beautiful. I mean, that's good action right there. So
I want to go back to something, because you were talking about slides and I got off on the topic.
Okay.
So slides to me are like handing somebody a brochure. And what happens when somebody hands you a brochure? What's the first thing you do?
What? Wait, while they're in front of you?
Yeah. How many?
While they're in front of me, I'm going to flip through it. Right. But when they leave, I'm going to throw it out.
Right. But before they leave, they hand you a brochure and now you've lost them in the brochure.
Yes.
Or you've lost them in the slide deck. A slide deck is like a brochure, only worse, because if I don't have my camera on, I can still be checking my email or looking what's on Twitter. So what is sales anyhow? It's a conversation. It's communication. It is the best qualities in a salesperson is curiosity. And so when you go in without a deck or a brochure or something, what you really want to do is just talk to them, right? Build trust. And you don't do that by throwing something at them. You do it by having a conversation one-on-one and listening. Listen before you even start to try to sell. And some people might push you into doing it because some people are pretty fast paced. Still, turn it around.
I think you're absolutely right. I love that. Actually, you don't know this. Chris and I, actually, he doesn't even know this, but my new live presentations, I got a new thing. It's talk about risk taking. And when we go and do this stuff, here's my pitch to them. I'll tell you about the outcome that you're going to get. There's going to be complete engagement and it'll be completely memorable. What are you going to talk about? I have no idea. I go, the risk that I will give to you is that I'll bring a check with me with how much you paid me, and I'll give it to you if you're not satisfied with the performance at there. The risk you have to take is you have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I'll tell you I'll tell you where we're going to end up, but I have no idea how we're going to get there. And in the middle of the presentation, talk about authenticity. Chris Stone is there listening to everything I'm saying, and he knows what I'm talking about and where story I'm going to. And those are the slides that he puts up. We have no idea where we're going to go.
I'm just going to steal Chris
total
from
engagement.
I just have to steal Chris. That's all.
Yeah.
Chris knew nothing about this until.
Well, that's why we charge $20,000 a presentation, because you're getting 2 for the price of 1. And so that's what we're doing. And really that's what this virus that shall not be named has done. It has really allowed, like what you said, it has allowed that authenticity, and people have reduced their need for perfection. They actually enjoy it when the cat runs through the room. Yeah. They actually enjoy those things. And so we need to use it. My position right now, and I do videos every day. If it's not live, it's dead. The programs that we did in the past that you could say, sign up for this thing and we have all these things. If it was done yesterday, it's already old. It's too easy to do it now. And that's where the authenticity comes in. You look great. Your lighting is terrific. You sound great. Now you've got engagement. You've got that retention. So once you do that, once you have their intention and you have that repartee back with somebody, how have you, for all these years that you've been doing this, how do you stay fresh?
Because again, it's not about me. You stay fresh because you're there in the moment. I want to share something. This is the biggest lesson I've learned. And it was from a Mr. Rogers movie. Did you see the Mr. Rogers movie with Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks, yes.
Yeah, it was brilliant. There's a moment where Tom, as Mr. Rogers, is talking to this kind of hard-boiled reporter, and he's kind of tough. And Mr. Rogers says, well, do you know who the most important person in the world is to me right now? And the guy says, I don't know who. And he said, you are, because I'm talking to you right now. And total mind-blowing, because I realized that the most important people in my life, I don't listen to them like that. And that's horrible, let alone customers and everyone else. But when I do, when I really listen to that other person as if at that moment they are the most important person in the world to me, it changes everything. There's no way not to be fresh. There is no way not to be in the moment. There's no way not to be authentic. It's when we're just listening to wait for that. Oh yeah, that's a pain point. I'm going to sell to that. Oh yeah, I see how I have something to solve that. Where then it's about us again. But if I'm really engaged and I'm really listening, and you are the most important person, so the phone, it's not buzzing. I don't care. Emails aren't coming up. It's just you and I. Do you know how powerful that is? Do you know how few people, and I'm still learning it. So I am not saying I'm the best listener. I am not. But when you do that, how that other person feels, it's just try it on your next sales call. Everybody out there, just try. And before you get on the call, say to yourself, this is the most important person in my life. And think about how you might listen to the most important person.
That is just such great advice.
Yeah. I think Dan, you've said this before, right? It's not about, if you want to be a better salesperson, be a better person.
I like that.
And that's really what that's about. Because, if you're selling something and you're talking to someone who's a potential, they know you're selling them something. They already know that. So make a friend, make a friend. even if you don't sell that, and you might sell a lot more if you kind of go with that mindset, which is exactly what you're talking about.
I learned so much from these shows. This is very similar to when we had Bob Berg, who's also a terrific guy, the Go-Giver guy. And, that's the way he truly does live his life. And by you listening, Laurie Brown, that's what you're giving to them. You're giving that's a gift that you're giving them, just listening to them wholeheartedly there. And that's a lot of value that people get. And, I'm fully of belief that if I give you, when you give enough value, you create a void in the universe that has to be filled, because it's the law of even Steven. I created that. So it just has to be filled. So when I give something to someone, or when you give me that, the act of listening, I give it to you, I have no expectation that I will get something back from you right there. I have zero. I mean, it's like not even there. It's like I have as much expectation as Godzilla to walk past me right now. I mean, zero. But I have 100% expectation that I will receive twice as much from the universe, because that hole must be filled. But the thing is, that thought process, you said, the next person you talk to, think about this, where we get distracted within seconds. So when I'm doing, yeah, that's right. When I'm doing cold calls, I'll actually say that in between each call as I'm dialing it. I'd like to give some value. How much value can I give this person? My call is to give value. My call is to give them an idea. My call is to give them something.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to stop you for a minute. When you, in between calls, what do you do to refresh yourself other than what you say? Do you change your body posture? Do you move around a bit? Because you need to kind of clean off that last call before you get into the new one. What do you do?
I'm sure I do a lot of things subconsciously that I'm unaware of as far as straightening up and things. And so there's no, in the middle, there's no real main ritual other than my little mantra. And I have a little mantra. I say, I lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. I create, not destroy. I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader. I'm a force for good, force for God. Set the standard, defy the odds. I stand up, I take charge, I win. And then I walk in. So I'll do that. But in between each call, I'm just and doing that, you automatically stand up straighter. So that stuff happens. But in between tasks, like let's say I'm going to call for an hour and then I'm going to do a different task. There is a ritual for that. And it's usually stop. I'll do some push-ups. I'll stretch out. I have a 10-minute window there that I do stuff, which is very, very important to compartmentalize where I was before and where I am now. But go on listening. So who reaches you? How does somebody get a hold of you? And why would somebody need to contact you? What problems are they having that all of a sudden, Laurie Brown?
So there's a couple of reasons people call me. If it's around customer service, here's what's interesting. I have never been hired by a company that needed me. These are already people who are doing great, and they want to polish. I shouldn't say that. I got hired one time by somebody who needed me, and then that was horrible. But the folks they're already good. They're good salespeople. They're good customer service. They just want to get better. So who would call me? It would be anyone where communication is the issue, right? So if communication is impacting the bottom line, I'm the right person to call. And it can be anything from presentation skills, which I do a lot of. It can be sales, and again, it's the communication part of that is why people call me. But it's a pretty wide group of folks, and they come onto my site and then they decide.
Yeah, and I've seen a number of your videos, Laurie, and I love how you can keep some of the shorter ones to the key information you need, because a lot of this can be overwhelming for someone who is used to doing in real life types of presentations predominantly before the world turned upside down here a little over a year ago. And so you touch on these points for virtual presentations in one of your videos. And we touched on a couple already, like lighting, but the one that that is so important, and Laurie, we see this with high, C level and above people even now is the eye contact thing. And a lot of people don't realize that when, like the reason why there are so many people right now that are watching this show and are engaged in this show and are over on Amazon chatting and all of this other stuff is because you are looking directly at them. You are actually speaking to them, and eye contact, I think, is crucial. So how do you go about sort of working with someone to walk them through the steps, and not, maybe some of the tech like a teleprompter and things like that are a component of that, but how do you get someone through that whole mindset where they're just not even used to this whole virtual thing and eye contact?
So the problem is, so if I'm looking at the camera, my camera's there. If I'm looking at you, I'm looking there. You have to find the sweet spot on your computer where those eye contacts are. And then if you want to see the coolest thing, I learned this from somebody else and I love it. I love it. I love it. If you want a teleprompter and you don't want to pay for a teleprompter because you don't want to pay for a teleprompter, there are some Big View, by the way. I love Big View. Big View is a great teleprompter. But you can use this kind of teleprompter and you can put notes on it, right? And then you just put it right over your camera.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's your notes, right? So
look at that.
Yeah.
Teleprompter hack. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. So, but that's why, if I also use sticky notes all over. If I'm having a sales call, I'll put sticky notes there. We make decisions about people around eye contact, right? So if somebody, and I've coached salespeople who have two screens. So they have their slide deck up, right? And all the capability slides, and they're looking at their slide deck and they're talking to you like this. And it's like, I'm not there. Don't look there. Look here. And in fact, when I do use slides, so for some of my programs, I use slides. What I do with my two screens, and by the way, if you're virtual, have two screens because it makes your life easier, is I'll have my slide deck. I'll have everything I need over there. But what's here is the presenter view with my notes right under the camera. So when I'm looking at my notes, it looks like I'm looking at you. And it just keeps you a little more involved or connected.
Yeah, now how do you deal with it when you're doing virtual things? Do you have the participants on screen too, that you could see their faces as well, or off?
So if I'm doing coaching, absolutely on, because I need to see folks. If I'm doing training, it depends on the medium. So if I'm using Zoom, absolutely cameras on. If we're using Adobe Connect, which is another platform I use, they're not always on camera. It's better when they are, because when you're in front of a live group, you need to see them and read them and understand.
Okay, so that is a challenge though. If you're looking at the camera, then you're not looking at their faces.
All right. So here's what you need. If you're using Zoom, I don't know if you know this, you can move those little boxes around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can position you right where I need to look. So I'm looking at you and it will read like I'm looking at you. So that's one of the things I do in Zoom is I'll move people so that they're where I want to look at. And sometimes you can't, and it's peripheral vision. But if it's about them and not about you, you want them to feel like you're looking at them, even if you're not. Doesn't sound authentic, but it works.
Well, so because you want to see if they're yawning or not.
Yeah, what you want to see, are they doing this? Right? Are they checking emails? Are they? And so a lot of times,
and they are texting. They are. Everybody who's watching your presentation is texting
right now. Put those down. Wait, we're not fascinating enough to grab their attention.
That's it.
One of the things though, so a lot of times customers will say, we don't turn our cameras on. And so one of the ways to get them to do that is start with your camera off and then say a couple things before we have this meeting. I'm going to turn off my Outlook. I'm going to turn on my camera. I'd love it if you would do the same. Hello. Who's there?
Now we need some live coaching for Dan.
Yeah, that's it.
Because he forgot to mute his phone during his live show.
That's my partner, Crispin Cruz, who always calls me when he knows that I'm on this show. It's the craziest thing. That's
He
what
just
does.
wants
But
attention.
he's a good guy.
Doris has a question on Amazon for you, Laurie. Have you ever tried stacking screens side by side?
So they are. Right now, I have one screen over here. They're not quite side by side. One's a little behind it because it's bigger. But even when they're side by side, if that's where it is,
Right.
still not going to look like. I use my second screen as my holder. So it has any PDFs. I use Mural board all the time. I love Mural. I use my Mural board over there. My slides are over there. Anything I need is over there. And then I can pull it over here. But I try not to look at it.
I don't know from this Mural board. What is this Mural board business?
Mural board has changed my life. So March 15th, just like for everybody else, all of my live training got canceled. And there I was. And I had to learn a whole new way of doing workshops. And I discovered I'm doing a class called Training from the Back of the Room Virtual Edition. And with a group of people, we help design how to do really interactive, engaging virtual classes. We have a class coming up in May, by the way, so it's pretty exciting. But from working on creating this workshop, I learned about Mural. It's a whiteboard, and it allows everybody in the workshop to be working on this whiteboard. And you can have manipulables, just as the way I would use flip charts or things that people have to move around. I do it on the Mural board. So when I throw somebody into a breakout room, they get to go play with their teammates on something. It's amazing. I don't sell it, so you can trust me that I'm making no money by telling you to do it. Go find Mural. If you want a cheaper version, there's Jamboard.
It's an app?
It's a platform.
Okay.
But Jamboard, you can get through Google. It works similar. There's Miro. My heart is with Mural. I love it.
My heart is with Mural. That's awesome. So, you're big on into this virtual thing. By the way, Chris Stone, did you write what's the day of that event? And
I can't even tell you. It's in May.
Okay, in May.
It's 5 days. It's a 5-day class. Let's see. I can see on my other thing. I can look.
Yeah, look.
When it starts. Okay.
I can stretch while you look at
May
the other.
10th, I think. And it's a 5-day class, goes on for 9 days.
All right. Well, so if somebody emails you, you'll give them the information. So watch it. This is what happens when you have the world's best producer on the planet. In a few seconds, you'll see a banner come up, and it's just amazing. All you have to do is, this is how we do live events to make it authentic, because things happen at the speed of business now. So you're doing these virtual things. This is a big challenge for me. I have to this point been unable to capture the type of excitement that happens in a live event. So if you had to give me 1 or 2, 3 pointers on how to bring that type of engagement together, what would they be? And I can't be the only person who has this challenge.
It's down there, Training from the Back of the Room Virtual Edition, right at the bottom there, Chris. There you go. So what can you do? What you want to do is recreate the experience of a live workshop. And what that means is, again, it's about the participants. So what you want to do is find ways to get them involved early on, quickly, respect the knowledge they already have, and get them excited about learning and sharing what they already know. So
get them talking?
Always, right? It's always about them. I mean, my message is the same no matter what we're talking about. It's about them. And I am not, whenever I do a training class, I am not the smartest person in the room. I might be the best person to facilitate the smart people that are in there. That's my skill set. But it's again, let's get their knowledge. Let's get them talking. Let's get them involved.
That's brilliant.
Deej, I don't ever want to go back to live. I was close to 2 million miles, this close to 2 million miles before March 15th. And now I have a 10 by 10 foot room. I have dinner with my husband every single night. It's gorgeous.
That is just great. It's almost like it was made just for you.
I have to say that I have benefited mightily from this.
Oh, that's terrific. I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot from people that were really plugging away that this kind of, they wanted to get to the point where they could be virtual like in 10 years. And this just rushed it along.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm the opposite. I need to get out because I think staying home, I'll get divorced. I mean, I drive myself crazy.
The ridge is still a problem that I'm worried about.
It's not a ridge. It's like there's an indentation which caused, we just call it Heartbreak Ridge. And then, and so it builds on itself. Now I'm feeling self-conscious about my marriage.
I got to beg you this. If you sell mattresses, please call the Deej now.
Yes.
He needs a new mattress.
Oh, 100%. Get Pete Primo on the line. Pete Primo will sell you a better mattress and get rid of the ridges. Let's turn this into a marriage counseling session, Laurie. This is great. This is great television, right?
But I've known that from the start. Chris knows this story because I said it a million times. But when I first got married, my dad gave me some advice, and his advice was, Danny, he has a little French Jewish accent. He says, Danny, when you get married, if you give 50-50, you're going to get divorced. He says, Danny, you give 90% and hope you get 10% back. And then to his credit, he said the same thing to her. And so that's been our relationship. So, but now I got hooked because, there are some families, and for whatever reason, good or bad, or, just habit, they sleep in separate rooms.
Sure.
We have some friends like that. They sleep in. And so what would you tell them? Here, you're busting my chops because of Heartbreak Ridge.
What would you tell somebody? Because of the mattress.
Okay.
And here's the other thing. This is my imagination, but I imagine you wake up next to your beautiful bride and you do this, good morning, and you smack her in the face with your hand. And maybe she should sleep in another room because I can see bruises on her face from this. Yes, it's another great day.
Yes, except it's 3:50 in the morning, and it's like a quiet little try to peep out of the room. I do get dressed in a different room, and in the hall bathroom, I'll go instead of going into the bedroom because I'll try not to wake her up. But yeah, it's nightmare. I'm waking up at I'm 3:50 up and out of the bed.
Wow.
What's wrong with me? I know, it's crazy.
Because you're excited about your day. That's why. I mean, so we talked about authenticity. So I just want to say this about you, because how long have we known each other now?
It must be 15 years, and I can't believe it.
But you are the same man that I have known in various situations. You are so authentic, and your energy is so contagious. It's just, it's a great way to wake up to watch one of your videos, because whether you have the sound on or not, you feel it, right? By the way, I think you should start using captions at the bottom, because when people want to hear you, but they don't want to wake up their significant other because they're watching it in bed, if you just have the captions at the bottom, it would make it so much easier for them.
You see, you're not the first person to say that. Is it difficult to put those captions underneath?
Depending on if you use.
Isn't it just a click?
No, it depends. So it can be complicated, and there's all sorts of ways, and I can teach you how to do that. If you use Big View to record, you can just say, please put the captions on. You'll have to change a couple of the words, but the captions are there. And
you think Big View can spell unbediegeable?
What's Big View?
Big View, I found Big View. It's a teleprompter app that has a camera and a teleprompter, and it puts the unbediegeable. It puts the captions on the bottom if you ask it to. You can edit it on there. You can put fronts and backs. It's a really simple tool, but I love it. And again, I make no money from it, so I can tell you.
Right. I mean, we're getting all this free advice from you here. So now
you will pay. You will pay.
I have to figure out how to do those captions. That's a great idea. I'm so low tech. I use the phone.
You can do it on the phone. You can record it on the phone through Big View. It will put it on there, and then you load it. You don't have to have any technical knowledge. But truly, let's just sometime
All
give
right.
me 15 minutes. I'll teach you how to use it and you'll love it.
Big view.
And also, not that you need a teleprompter. My guess is you would ignore it even if it was there. But if you wanted a teleprompter, for you, what I would do, here's what I would do.
Okay.
I would have the 5 or 6 points you want to make on the teleprompter, and then you just chat about them because you're not going to read off of a script.
So my challenge is, and thank you so much for bringing up this information about myself. Next time, why don't you just give me a paper cut and pour some lemon juice in it, just to even things out.
I think you're amazing.
Yeah,
what kind of paper cut am I giving you? Other about the rich mattress. Okay.
Yes, but I'm terribly dyslexic, like stupidly dyslexic, and so reading just saying teleprompter, and I know everybody uses them, and just that gives me anxiety.
I understand. So here's what I would do.
Yes.
I'd put pictures on it. Yes.
Oh, you see, you're brilliant. That's a great idea. Yeah, that's all. Because that's how I remember things. That's why when I give my presentations, it's story, vignette, story point, all that stuff. Because that's how I see, that's how I remember things. I mean, even as Chris Stone, when we do our podcasts, I'll bring up names of, of Gary Zisman and Mike Malinsky and Mike Fusco. And I just mentioned their names and I got a whole story, at Dunkerhook Creek when we fell off the ridge with the bicycle. I was always afraid of this one little ridge, that you would go off because you'd fall. It's probably like 5 or 6
ridges.
Feet. Yeah.
Ridges.
But Jeff Zisman fell off that ridge and broke his arm on his bicycle. And then we weren't allowed to go there anymore.
So let me say something else about you. I want to say something else about you that I think if every salesperson out there could get this quality, your ability to tell stories it just pulls people in. So I know I talk a lot about listening and listening and listening, but when you start talking, make it a story. Because we remember stories. They stick in our head better. Our brains like stories. And you're the king of stories. And so if other than listening, have a couple of good stories in your back pocket that relate to what they might be saying. Because that will tell them more about you and about themselves than you going, and then we sell 5,000 and we do that. Who cares? Tell me a story.
That's right. I was taught that, and maybe by you, when you tell a good story, you have a good story when the person in the audience puts themselves in the story and asks, what would I do? And that's how you know you're in the right place. You have a book and all this stuff. Do you not? Yeah, you have a couple books. Which one's your favorite? If I had to buy one.
Because they're different. They're so completely different. So one is the Teleprompter Manual. Why do I love that book? Because I got to interview the guy who created the teleprompter before he died.
Holy schlaboli.
The first chapter is about the history, and that alone is worth the cost of admission. So I love that book for that. The customer service book is Greet Your Customer Manual. And those first few seconds in any interaction are so powerful. They can make or break you. So I love that book for that reason. They're just different. They're so completely different. It's like, which of your kids do you like better? I don't know.
I am going to, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go buy one. I'm going to buy the teleprompter one because
I think I know where you can get those books.
Where?
There's something called Amazon that is selling both of those books, and the car buying public that is joining on the pitchman.live on Amazon. They're already sold on it. So one thing I want to talk about with the teleprompter, and maybe Laurie, this you have used this before, and that this might help with you, Dan, is a lot of people will use, because you can't put the Deej in a box. You know that, Laurie. So one thing a lot of people, right? I know. The box would just terrible. So what a lot of people use with a teleprompter is they'll put their camera behind it and then just use the reflection of their screen. So if we're doing a job interview or doing some sort of virtual presentation, you want to be able to look at the person, directly in the eye. They'll use that teleprompter to mirror their actual screen and keep that eye contact. So even without having the words scrolling or, pictures of rainbows and unicorns, which is probably what Dan would have on his screen, you could actually just have a reflection of the screen and be able to look somebody right in the eye.
Yeah, there's all sorts of do it yourself. Since I wrote it quite a while ago, now it's easier than ever to do it yourself. The problem with doing it yourself is the speed and making sure it doesn't go too fast or too slow. And
yes, you still have to be rehearsed. This is terrific. I can't tell you two things. One, how much I've enjoyed you being here, because I actually did learn stuff, which is great. But second, you're gorgeous. You look so good. I swear you don't look any different than you did 15 years ago.
Well,
your husband is a lucky man.
I appreciate that, but
yes.
There is no ridge. We don't have Heartbreak Ridge.
That's it. Our mattress. Can you get mattresses on Amazon?
Sure.
Apparently, I'm in the market. It's
not. How about using this in non-sales marketing job? What book would you feel is of those two books? I'm not. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sure either of them are going to help you. If you were in customer service, and we're all in customer service, probably the Greet Your Customer Manual. The Teleprompter Manual is more for people who need to use the teleprompter either to do video or to present live. So I guess I would go with the customer service if that fits what you do.
Doris, everybody's in sales.
I know.
And this is an unbelievable cheat to have a teleprompter by your computer. In this market, here we are, we're doing so much online. Why not just cheat about everything? You're talking to your friend and you want to, find out what's a good gift to get them or something like that. And so you have your little questions lined up, ready to go and all that stuff so you don't forget. It's just a fun thing to do to protect yourself against forgetting, about anything.
So that's a really good point. And let's just talk about that for a minute, is questions. I think if you spend more of your time prepping questions and thinking about the questions they might ask you, you're going to be far better off than having a rehearsed pitch. Mm-hmm. Because again, authenticity. I'm going to be able to talk to you. I'm going to hear you. A blank piece of paper. I wrote a blog post on this, but a blank piece of paper is one of the best sales tools you can have. On one side, you write down what they're saying, and as they're talking, you might write down any questions you have so you're not interrupting them. And then, far better than any brochure you will ever hand anybody.
That is just gold. Thank you so much, Laurie Brown. Everybody go out there and buy her book, like I will. And people, if you're, look you up. Are you on this website called Google?
Google. I've heard of Google.
Yeah. So go look up Laurie Brown. If I pull up Laurie Brown, there's pages of Laurie Brown.
There are. So it's lauriebrown.com, because there's a very famous broadcaster, CBC broadcaster, who she and I fight for space in the world.
Have you ever called her?
I have not.
No,
I'm sure she does not like me. We used to share an IMDb page.
Oh, really?
An SEO cage match.
Yes, that ought to be fun. Well, I appreciate you coming, and stick around after we're done here, because I want to talk to you afterwards. And for all you out there watching all over the place and asking a question, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here every week. Just know this, you're the best. I'm the Deej, and Chris Stone and Laurie Brown are the ones that are making this show good. You guys go get them today. Thanks so much.